I was scrolling through Facebook one day and found NeuroTour, which I've talked to Jenna about. I'm actually doing a clinical rotation with them. They're a company, physical therapy company, originally out of New York. They work all around the country now, but they are most well known for partnering physical therapists with Broadway touring companies. So I've been beating down their door for the past 2 years to get them to listen to me, and built a clinical connection with them through our university, which was a lot of paperwork. And I literally traveled across the country to find them because they wouldn't answer their emails. So I went all the way to Boston to hunt them down to get them to listen to me. I can't make this stuff up. And it's kind of snowballed and I'm here. But it's kind of, the dream has now become a reality, and I didn't even think it could even be a dream in the first place. And once I found it, it just, all of my loves that I've ever had in my life are kind of coming all together and joining as one.
I love that. I'm going to ask you another question in a second, Kylie. I forgot to press record. So I'm going to give a quick, for people catching the replay, I want to fill you in. I did not cut off Kylie and what she was saying because she was opening up a bit. And I'm going to ask you a follow-up question in a second. But I'm going to do a quick review of what I just said. This is for us to create more of a community amongst each other, so that way we can really, really start this movement. And I personally believe it's a new movement of us really knowing each other and supporting each other. For me, I have the background in theater. When going into the professional world, I really learned that I was this weird person, personality-wise and everything, which I never experienced as a performer. And I consider myself a performer first. And I'm really building now to have more of a community in dance physical therapy alone. I have that for PT in general, but for this niche, it does not exist fully. So we are really pioneers right now with getting this community going. It's in the dance physical therapist group, but with you guys, all of us coming together, that's where we're going. So now we're all each individually sharing stuff about ourselves, which leads me to my follow-up question for Kylie. For you, community-wise, what have you experienced with that? Do you already have a little bit of a dance PT community specifically? Tell us about that.
Well, I think it really was founded by your Facebook group, to be honest. And I attended, in the process of trying to set up my clinical connection with NeuroTour, I attended one of their continuing education courses, and that was my first time ever meeting dance physical therapists. It was little student me in a room of dance PTs all learning about, dance on Broadway and stuff like that, to work with NeuroTour. So I got to meet like 10 or 12 of them, and I still keep in touch with a couple of them. I have to get them into the Facebook group. I don't know why I've been slacking on that. Because I have their emails.
Yes, I mean, bring them, of course.
I'll bring them in. But like, I got to meet bits and pieces of them from everywhere from Connecticut to Maryland to all over the place. And there's just this little Florida girl. But as far as other people, in my area, I mean, when you think of theater, you don't really think of Florida. So most of my community has been online, other than my roommate, who she's also interested in dance physical therapy, and also kind of found dance PT through me, because I kind of found it and was like, hey, this is a thing. And she was like, wait, we can do theater and PT at the same time? Who knew? So yeah.
I love that. Where are you close to Orlando? I forget.
No. Well, I'm originally from a little outside of Tampa. So
okay. So kind of, but not really. You have like an hour and a half. Yeah.
I'm right now in school in Fort Myers. So if you know, like Naples, Miami, it's more down south.
I think I'm creating one for the professionals, but I think I'm going to create one for students as well, maybe. And you'll put like your graduation year, a document so you guys know other dance PT students. Yeah, I'm doing that. All right. Anyway. Wouldn't that be amazing? So that way you're just like, other people, and then I can keep up and like just literally move you guys and be like, hey, move yourself to the professional one now. But I think that would be cool.
We'll just shift.
Yeah, we'll just move it over. Just move it over. Yeah, I'm going to do that. That'll be great. So that way you can connect there, and then, yeah, good crossover. Okay. All right, I'm going to just go down. Lizette, your turn. So please share what you've experienced community-wise. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a third year PT student right now. I'm finishing up my last academic semester, which is actually really exciting. And then I'll have 2 clinical affiliations after this one. I tried to get a clinical affiliation with Neurosport actually too, but to no avail. They refused to answer me, which I was really upset
Yeah,
about.
there's not that many opportunities with clinicals in general, so it's hard.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And not for a lack of trying either. But I actually grew up figure skating my whole life, and I've been going to Broadway shows since I was a little kid. And then I actually started doing musical theater as well in about high school until I was in college. And then I kind of lost my way of what do I want to do with my life? I know I can't make a career out of this. So I found like sports medicine, and like I've always loved like helping people that way. So then I decided, okay, well, let's try physical therapy. And never in a million years did I think dance PT at all. Until I think about like a year ago, I went to go see a show, and in the playbill it said like the physical therapist name, and I went, "What?" Yeah, exactly. I was like, hold on. So that kind of really changed the game for me, because I was like, I would love to combine these 2 passions in my life into like my dream career, because physical therapy alone, I felt like, yes, I love this and this is great, but I feel like I'm missing something. And then seeing that, it just like clicked, and I was like, oh, I need to do this, or I need to at least try.
Yeah.
Community wise, I don't really actually have a dance PT community. In my class, I'm actually the only student interested in doing dance PT, which is interesting, like being the kind of unicorn of the group.
Heck yeah, to unicorns.
Heck yeah.
So really, this online group is really like my only community. So I'm really looking to get a lot out of it and like lean on everybody.
I love that. Just wait, it's gonna grow. I mean, literally, you guys are the fetuses.
Lizette, I have to connect you with my roommate though, because she was also a competitive figure skater in middle school and high school, and found theater in high school. So she has like basically your same story. Y'all be best friends. I'll connect you. You'll be great.
Oh my God.
Literally, yeah. This is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I want.
Zoe Barnes, she's in our Facebook group. Y'all be friends. It'll be a thing. I'll like send y'all Facebook requests. It'll be a thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I love that. Savannah. Is there like a body of water called Savannah? Why do I imagine water right now?
I mean, there's Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
I was like, is it in Georgia?
Savannah River. Yeah.
Ah, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I've been there.
Yeah. And
Has there been a song made about Savannah? Maybe
there's a couple people in my life who like sing this particular kind of like alternative, like very, I guess it's more like indie rock song. That's like,
you just want to sing.
But that's just how they greet me. That's funny. I never asked them to do that.
I love it. Yes. So please, Savannah, share about for you with community experience.
Okay. Yeah. So this is actually really interesting to listen to all of you guys, because I did a little bit of shadowing at Neurosport because I'm from Marietta, Georgia, and they have.
I wonder if everyone's like, Angie's like,
so it's
we have
funny.
so weird connection to them.
When I was, well, it's because this is what they do, kind of, right? So like, if we all like this, then kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I did a little bit of shadowing at their East Cobb location and found out about NeuroTour. And it's funny because I was actually really hoping to do my 4th internship with them, like my very last internship that I have to set up now. And my clinical like director of education was super okay with it. But then my husband got into a master's program at the U at the same university where I'm at. And so he's working full time and doing school full time, and I'm in school full time. And it's like, we're going to graduate at the same time. And it's like, do I really want to go to another city for 3 months? And I'm like, when we're both finishing our degrees. So I decided this wasn't the time. But yeah, so like I was thinking about that too. It's funny. Contacted them and everything. So yeah, let's see. Community. Back to the real question. Other than NeuroTour, I've like kind of built up a little bit of a community in Salt Lake. There's
Great.
there's a therapist at the orthopedic center at the U, which is like literally less than a mile down the road from me, which I'm hoping to do that internship with her instead of Neurotour. Still waiting on that. You gotta love the delay and how all of these things work. But yeah, so she has worked with like Ballet West dancers and like Odyssey Dance Theater and a bunch of people out here. Dance is huge in Utah. Like, it's crazy, guys. There are I mean, I thought Atlanta was full of dance studios, but like freaking Utah, they're everywhere. Like, I don't know. So so I feel like there's a lot of people in Salt Lake and around Salt Lake that are physical therapists that have interests in dance PT, but I don't know that there's a ton of like formal places to do it. Like, I know that Salt Lake I know that Ballet West has a physical therapist. I know that Odyssey has people that do PT for them. I know that, you know, this lady I want to work with works with some of the like modern dance company dancers in Salt Lake City, but like there's nothing super set up. So I've been trying to tap into this system for years, which is why I was really glad that I found out about this. But yeah, so I feel like I have some places to go, but it's nothing, like I said, like in my intro video, nothing is like super structured yet. And I think that would be, I've always been looking for structure. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been looking for like an organized place to find this stuff. So
Yeah,
I've just been kind of piecemealing it everywhere.
And that is the case right now. You're not alone with that. The way the dance PT growth clinically or connecting with people, there's not a through line of like, oh, here's all this. Oh, here's all this. There's Doctors for Dancers, that could be a resource. Westside Dance has references. Like, there's these references all over the place. Not that many, but like, let's say Doctors for Dancers alone. It's great. It has like, I didn't want to have to do the work to stay on the list for free because she was like starting it off. It's a great thing, but it's a referral list for dance PTs throughout the U.S. The thing that I mean, I support, you know, having businesses, but I want there to be a list of all the dance PTs that doesn't cost money for dance PTs to be on, because that means dance PTs who are already situated and are good without it, don't want to be spending their money on that. They have other things they need to spend their money. They're not even paying attention. Like, I know so many people who aren't on those lists where I'm just like, you know, it's not giving the full picture of what's out there.
Right.
So I got people saying me right now in the dance PT group, but that will be a great way to start having more of a through line. I think these Google Docs are the ghetto beginning. Eventually, I'm sure I'll turn it into some database thing, you know, which will be great. But for right now, baby steps. But I want, like, for instance, this course, I want it to be that through line, you know, and I want there to be more clear things, so it's not just vignettes of like, here's this great screening course here, here's this great one here, you know, on technique, you know, why not just have a, like, I want that for you as well. It can be very okay.
It goes back to the organization too. Like, if there was just like a list of like, here's all the CEU courses, here's all the students, here's all the professionals.
Yeah. So, and exactly. So one step at a time, like I'm, you know, we're creating, and I'm learning from you guys what we could use, and you know, we all benefit from it, and it helps us. Like, look at the posts lately. There's been like 2 for Florida looking for physical therapists. I'm like, I'm just tagging the same people. My friend Angel said to me, she's like, I live so far from there. Why are you tagging me? I said, you're the only one I know who lives in Florida. So as far as I'm concerned, you're the whole state. Well, right now, you know, until we get that document going, because then we can have, like, it'll be great. Angie, Angie. How do we pronounce your last name? Is it Agrawal?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so smart. Yay.
Yeah, that's literally it. You actually pronounce it better than I do, because I've always had a speech impediment where I can't say my R's. So I say my own last name wrong.
So you're like Agawal?
Yeah. Yep.
That's so amazing.
Cool. But so yeah, I'm a student just like you guys. I'm in my second year. So I get the whole struggle of being the only person in your class who even danced. And a lot, I think I knew about dance PT because when I first came in, I don't know how I found out. I think it might have been, I was always hurt in high school in dance. So I realized that, like, obviously I couldn't make that a career. My body couldn't handle it at all. So I was like, okay, I have to find something else. I kind of did the same thing where I went with like a athletic trainer type of vibe. And then the athletic trainer that I actually was talking to about it, he was like, don't do it. You're not gonna be able to have a family. You're not gonna have a life. Like, you don't get paid well. Do PT. You'd love it. And I was like, huh, okay. So I looked into it, love it. And then I found West Side Dance, actually. I was like Googling like dance PTs because I was like, I wonder if this is a thing. And then of course your name came up, Jenna. And I found all these like different things and I was like, oh, this would be really cool if I could do a clinic there, like a clinical there. At the time I was just starting, like I think I was in my first week of PT school, maybe. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, so cool. And then I didn't really know how to get there. So I kind of like, it slowly dwindled away as a dream. And I was like, maybe it's not a thing. Maybe it's really hard to get into. Maybe like you need to know people, you know what I mean? So I kind of like let it die down. And then Jenna came to me. So here we are. And it's finally a dream again. And I'm so excited.
Oh, that makes me so happy. And then how about for you with community? Oh, sorry. Continue your thought.
That's the thing. I don't really have much of a community here. Granted, I'm literally half an hour from the city. So, I mean, I know that there's such a big community there. But I mean, as of now, it's you guys.
Hey, that's great. Yeah. That's more than a lot of people can say. That's great. And like anybody, kind of what Kylie was saying at the beginning, she said, oh, I know these people, I need to bring them to the group. Like if you know dance PTs, bring them into the dance physical therapist group. We're not growing just for growing's sake. We're growing to build our community. Yeah. We need more of each other. The more, the merrier. Because at the end of the day, if we're going to think outside of ourselves and wanting that help and wanting that's a larger safe zone, if you think about dance physical therapy, we have very few overall clinics in the United States alone that are only dance. Mm-hmm. But if you really think of all the dance studios out there, all of them, there's a lot. And there's going to be areas where it's the only dance studio, and then there's other people you would treat. But for that only dance studio, you are helping them save the 5 hours or plane rides that they would need to do to get access to someone. Mm-hmm. That's a very big deal. So right now, when you're looking at your clinics, it gets you or NeuroSport, you're like thinking, oh, it has to be where it's like, oh, of course, ideally, we'd love to treat only dancers. But for you to be in a spot where you're that solo person, or say you're, even if you're not, there's another person there, that's amazing, because to have access to somebody where they normally would not have access to, a dance physical therapist, somebody who knows that, is a very big deal. Very big deal. And that could be really huge. Huge. Okay. So for you now, I feel like we've tapped on it, but I want to dive a little bit deeper on where we are lacking in the dance PT community. I'll talk first to give you, so you guys can get where I'm going a little bit, and it can be slightly different the way you interpret it. For me, dance PT community has been lacking because there's so much of this concept of competition. And I have had a recent incidents of losing a friendship in dance PT, somebody who I admire. I'm always going to be saying that, admire, but, you know, and love and enjoy and respect and enjoy as a friend. And I think it has to do with people feeling threatened. And I think we are lacking that abundance mindset so much that we go into this scarcity mode. And I think that's what is spreading out even into the education, and why things haven't been a clear through line, and, you know, and why there's still so much opportunity for that to happen. So that's where I've experienced it, with it lacking. I actually, a little bit different from you guys, there were quite a few people who were interested in dance PT at my school, which is great. was really great, except there was this like underlying competitive mode for a lot of people where even just if they were dancing in like a dance team while we're in our doctoral school, there you could see where they were trying to be, oh, I'm the best in this, you know, like it was very backwards in the sense of if we're going to really build ourselves up. And then, of course, as you guys have already experienced, as we are with the students, we're all students here. We're always students, so let's be real. Even we have professional PTs coming. We're always students. We're always learning. Even I forgot my thought process completely. My brain totally farted. Like seriously, wait, no, really, where was I? I totally lost my thought process.
Abundance.
Abundance mindset.
Yeah, we'll just go from there. Like,
backbiting competition between students.
Yes. And so, I didn't see a lot of us amongst each other applauding when somebody got. I remember even when I was congratulating one dance PT in my class where she got both West Side Dance and she got Physio Arts. She got 2. Absolutely incredible and wonderful. And I was truly happy for her. And I could tell when I was talking to her, she just didn't feel like I was being sincere because we're competition. You know, and so that's where I think we're just so lacking. And I've experienced that. I'll go in the opposite order. Angie, you go first. Angie Agrawal, or as she would say, Agawal.
I 100% agree with that, first of all. I really do agree with that. My first thought when you said that question, though, was awareness. I think that maybe, like, I know obviously in the dance community, you know, everybody knows the dance PT, but I think for like the general community, like maybe those recreational dancers, like I know when I got hurt, I definitely could have used a dance PT. You know what I mean? And I was sent to a regular physical therapist who didn't really know what to do with me. And I didn't stay with it. I left. And then I didn't heal properly. And it's like, if we have that, and again, that comes from building the community. You know what I mean? So
yeah, great point.
But I think definitely awareness is a big thing.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I'm mixing up my order. If it was, it was Savannah. Savannah's like, I like order. I know the
order. Okay, so what we're lacking? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, community-wise.
Yeah, I definitely feel what you say about competition. It's really funny that you guys, like what you guys have been saying is like, there aren't a lot of people in your class that are interested in dance PT. Well, it's so funny because there's like 5 dancers in my class, like multiple people who would identify as like, I'm a dancer, even though like, I think I'm the only one with a college dance degree, but a lot of them think of themselves as dancers and they get it. Like,
which is great.
There. Yeah, but I think I'm the only one who's interested in this. So it's like, okay, but I do feel, excuse me, I do feel the competition from like generally just within my class. My class is not great for that. And the class below me is wonderful. And I'm like so jealous of them because they're all so like uplifting of each other. And I'm always sitting in my classroom like, oh gosh, some of these people are just catty. Anyways, so yeah, I feel like I hope I don't experience that in the more specific niche dance PT world, because I mean, I'm sure it's there, but that's just sad to me because it's right. Like, we all need to help each other. There's not enough people who understand, kind of like to Angie's point, there's not enough people who understand dancers or gymnasts or ice skaters or anyone who does anything like that. Like all the athletes who are hypermobile, you know, like they don't get it because I've had like in my pathokinesiology class, tests and measures, all these classes that are like ortho based where the teacher will like, you know, bash on yoga or whatever, and they're talking about like too flexible, not strong enough, or they'll put up a picture of like, you know, someone in the oversplits or doing something ridiculous with their body, like a contortionist in the back bend, and you can just hear my classmates like go, oh, like you're ruining your body. And I'm like, you can't tell that to them. Like
They're not going to change it. They're not going to change
listen
it.
to you.
Yeah.
They're not going to take your advice. Like that's a closed mindset. And because that's their livelihood or that's their passion or their whatever it is, like that's what they do for, like for me, it was extracurriculars, and then it became my degree, and then it became like my livelihood, right? And now PT. But there are so many people that like, I feel like a lot of PTs would just be like, well, you're gonna need a hip replacement, or you're gonna ruin your body, you're gonna this, and it's like, you can't tell that to an athlete. You just can't.
They're just going to be like,
I don't know.
thank you, next. Like that song,
and so,
literally.
I don't know. I feel like that's where at least the PT world in general is lacking, which is why this is great. And that's why I partially feel called to this, because I don't think I would ever tell someone that.
I love that. I love that. I need to add to this. So her classmate, Jeff Denning, he's also in this course.
He's wonderful.
Everything that you just said makes sense to me why you two are friends.
Yes, because he is like the least competitive person in my class. He is so chill. He's so mellow. He's such a good teacher, and he's so patient. Like, I love him. He's like, anyways.
He has abundance mindset. Jeff Denning's in this course as well. He's not here right now, but hello, Jeff.
Just text him, yell at him. Come on, Savannah.
I guess I'll get on my phone.
Message him on that group meet and him in this.
Be like, everybody's ragging on you right now.
We are talking about you, Jeff.
All right, go for it, Lizette. Go for it, Lizette. Where we're lacking in community.
So I kind of agree with what everyone's already said. Another thing I would say, like lacking community-wise, is the awareness and the open communication, professional to student-wise, because especially for me, because I wanted a clinical affiliation specific to dance PT, and if I didn't have the connection I did, I wouldn't have gotten in, and then I would have always been wondering, well, what if, and I don't like to live with the what ifs. So I was really fortunate to have a professor who said, well, try this place in Boston, and look, that's where I'm going for my 4th clinical now. So I think that's also where we're lacking, is professionals to students, and creating those connections to create the open communication, to open up more opportunities, and to let students just like kind of be free and experience it, to either say, yes, this is definitely what I want, or maybe not what I was thinking.
Yeah. I love that. That's good. That's just, I'm just sitting with it. I don't have much more to say. Sometimes I'm like, yes, just snaps. Oh my gosh. I could, all right, Kylie. I love that I remembered how to pronounce your name. Is that
It
sad?
makes me so happy. Like, I can't even.
Because she looks like a Kaylee, but it's Kylie. It's
how
Kylie.
happy it makes me. Like, I typically have to be like, and I hate being that person that's like, this is not my name.
But it's important though. And like it is with patients, it is important amongst each other as well. So
It's so
I
sweet.
recognize that. So, but I was like, after you told me the correct way to pronounce, I was like, I better get this right, man.
A lot of people, they'll scratch out the A or whatever they got to do. I'm like, I don't care how much.
You're like, yeah, make it work.
Right. Like, just do it. Like, I'm good.
Yeah. No one says my last name right. I had people say my last name wrong about 5 times today. And there's so many times where I'm like,
Oh yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce your last name.
Yeah, well, it's just like it looks.
Yanni?
Yanni.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing. People are always like Yancy and Yanni, and I'm like, no, just read it. Like, it's not
Just
that hard.
read it.
Anyways,
It's not that
sorry. And I mean, I didn't choose it. It's like a married name, whatever. But
blame
Right.
the husband.
yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh,
You're good. Where was I? Oh yeah. So
community lacking.
right. So I was thinking about how you were talking about like competition, and well, because Jenna, you went to school in New York, right? I have this like thought in my head that maybe the competition vibe within the dance PT community is location based.
Maybe.
Like,
I don't
think, like,
know.
you know, a lot of dancers like go to New York because that's like where dancers make it in New York, and maybe that's where they just ended up for PT school, or that's why you have so many.
I mean, it could
Florida, I
be.
got nothing, you know.
It could be. I'm just going to bounce off that and bring it back to you. It could be. I like that brainstorm, but here's going to be my big but. The other person who there were several dance PTs. There was one specific. Well, actually, no, there's two because I got close to one, and she's doing very well in New York as well. But I would say myself and this other girl, I didn't feel any of that like judgment or like putting above. It was just like going for what you want to go for. Both of us had professional careers and in the arts, and the rest, the people with the attitudes didn't. I'm just saying that was in this cohort. There could be other people who could come in and they had a professional career and would have that attitude, but ours was a little different. It was actually the people, with the exception of one, the people who didn't have the professional career took on more of a like proving themselves things.
Right.
Whereas I saw between myself and the other girl, not that we talked about this, but I'm just literally reflecting right now.
Yeah.
We were just she got involved in dancing. I didn't. I was just kind of doing the fairy tale physical therapy thing and performing for kids in hospitals. But like, there wasn't that like, you know.
Well, and that's what I was thinking about, because I mean, I think back to, you know, my theater days, and you know, I think about, you know, competing for that lead role and that like stigma in that environment, and like maybe there's like almost that lead role type of like vibe surrounding like the top PT in the area, or like, you know, I'm the only PT in Florida or something like that, like dance PT. Like maybe there's some sort of like stigma there that we have somehow subconsciously created.
Well, I'm wondering if the reason that you're feeling that way is because that is so inherent to performing arts, because even though I don't know that there needs to be, but there's always this inherent competition between ballet dancers or competition dancers or musical, you know, Broadway musical theater, like
you're in the front line, in the back.
I'm wondering if that's because that's the community that we come from, and if those people end up making it into physical therapy and treating that same community, if they like
the personality just evolves.
Yeah, if they like superimpose that competition that they used to experience onto their new
Oh, that's such a good point. You know I mean? I never thought of it that way.
Like, do they never let it go and they treat it the same way?
Yeah. That's helpful. That's really helpful just to understand.
But that just goes to show like who you get along with when you're like in your performing career is the same types of people that you're going to get along with later in life, or the people who don't do that to you. True. The people who like, are totally fine with everyone doing their best and not always being the number one.
Yeah, but where it changes is when we get into the professional world with physical therapy, that we lose out with keeping that mindset big time, which shows the proof is in the lack of people knowing who to refer to.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, yeah, and it becomes, I mean, I'm just thinking in the future here, because I haven't experienced this yet, but like thinking at first it was about a part and being the one with the spotlight, and now it's about business and money. And
well, who has the job, the flashier job?
Right.
And you figure out, I mean, this is jumping, but you guys will figure out for each of you exactly how you want to live your dance physical therapy life.
Right.
You know, I knew I didn't want to do any of the companies where they did the Broadway shows, because if I'm working a Broadway show, that means I'm not performing myself. I was like, I'm not cutting that out. So, you know, other people can do that. Enjoy. So that was more of my concern, because of what I want. And I haven't let go of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So now I have this last question, and it is, what kind of support do you want to be able to give to others in the physical therapy community? So not what you from others, but now, like, what would you like to be for the community at large and bring to the table as like goals, like talking about ourselves as like unfinished, I think my thing will be, I want to give as many resources as possible as they come into my brain or get inspired, especially because of like the dance PT group and also within you, to just be like, oh, you need that? I actually have it. Here you go. Feel free to use it as you need to, and happy Hanukkah, whatever, you know, like I really want there to be this like limitless, I don't want to have an ending point on where I can give and help us. I want that. That is my goal for myself. The day I start saying hard no's is where I want to start reflecting on what my values are. Because I think holding things in, like Jules is, especially with you guys in the course, for me to hold back things, I'm like, why? Why would I do that? Yeah. All right, go for it, Kylie.
I don't know. I think my biggest thing is like, I love networking. I'm a sucker for networking. Like, I love talking to people. I can talk all day long. Like, whether it's like me sitting there and be like, hey, Lizette, you should meet my roommate. She's great. Like, I love the opportunity to be able to do that whenever I can. And I'm always trying to reach out and talk to new people. And like, I love every single day checking into the dance PT group just to see what's happening in the world and see who's around, and whether it's me just sending random Facebook requests to people and just being like, we should be friends now.
We're friends forever.
Like, I love building those connections with other people, and like, whether it's like things like that where I'm like, I know you have something in common with another person in this group, let's build these connections so that we can be one. Like, I think that's my strength at a baseline, and I just want to continue to grow that and like help everybody connect and find each other.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love it so much.
Yeah, me too. What the heck?
Take it away, Lizette.
Oh, I can't follow up with that.
Just be you. You are awesome. Go for it.
I'm on a soapbox today.
Oh gosh. I guess I also like going off like the resource and making connections. I want to be a resource for future dance PTs of, oh, hey, you should get connected with this person. And like, if they're connecting with me and let's say I maybe don't know the answer, I could be like, okay, well, I don't know the answer, but I know someone who does. So let me connect you with that person. So I kind of want to help you in that way of like, let me help you on your journey to getting where you want to go or figuring it out or whatever. And like, I'm here to fully support you 100% no matter what it is. Like, whatever you need from me, I can do it. Kind of.
I love that. Yeah. Well, because we don't have those through lines right now. We just don't. So that's so valuable. I love that. Angie, just kidding. I just wanted to do that to Savannah. No, Savannah. But Savannah likes order, so I was messing with her.
Oh gosh. I already get pinned as the one who always is like, I need order. No. I mean,
I'm crazy, so there you go.
That energy, babe.
I'm not saying it's not true. I just don't know how I got pinned as that already. I've known you guys for like 45 minutes.
Oh, no, it just happened, man.
Oh man.
Nothing but love. Nothing but love.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's see. What do I want to? Well, I kind of already spoke to this earlier. I feel like I want there to be less of a stigma around the physical therapy profession for athletes who kind of fall into this realm. I want other physical therapists to understand that you treat them the same way as anyone else. You just have to consider what they do as opposed to like what a soccer player does or what a football player does or things like that. So I would really like to, I don't know, kind of spread that mindset throughout the PT world. I think obviously I echo everything everyone else has said. What else was I going to say? I had a couple really good thoughts while you guys were talking, but now I can't remember them.
You were busy listening. I do that I just go and I start listening. I'm like, I don't remember my question. I'm just listening.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And I don't know, just providing quality care because, okay, here's another thing that came into my head. I feel like I've taught a lot of kids at dance studios who maybe weren't in the most like well-off families, so they didn't necessarily have the best resources. And even if they got in touch with the right resources, like if I could give them help or I could say, I think you should do this, like their parents didn't have the means to do that for them. And so I watched a number of kids, especially like the teenagers who had been really trying so hard for so long, working too hard and not smart enough, not working smart, working hard, not working smart, working hard. Wow, that's hard to say. Like, you know, and I feel like if they had gotten quality care, then something would have been different in their lives. Maybe they wouldn't have had to stop dancing. Maybe that would affect their life down the road long term. So I don't know, trying to provide more resources for stuff like that, because I feel like those, even the ones who did go to PT probably ended up with someone who was like, I don't know what to do with you. You do what every day? You stand on your toes, or like your hips go how far? You know, like I feel like a lot of people don't know how to deal with that the same way that I don't feel comfortable dealing with a soccer player. Like there's a lot of people in my class who are like, oh yeah, like they're probably doing this, and I'm like, I don't know anything about what you guys are talking about. I'm sorry. Like I speak ballet French, and like I don't know. Like so just trying to get more people to understand that, like, look, the same principles apply to everybody. You just have to like impairment-based treatment and look at the evidence and, you know, do the best you can. And like if you don't know, find someone else who does.
Yeah,
Like what you guys have said. So
oh yeah. I mean, just to speak to that, I have a patient who's looking into bunion surgery right now, a dancer, and there's not a lot of research on it. And so I went, shoot. So of course I texted a lot of people, and I got on the phone with a couple, and a couple physical therapists who've been practicing longer than me, and who I trust, who are kind, who don't judge, all those things. And the big thing I learned with it is how, just in general, like even more so how we lean towards conservative treatment in this specific case, you know, how we really can help with bunion stuff, where we wouldn't be fixing the correction, but we can alleviate the pain. And the diving in, getting the opportunity, you know, to dive into that because of the support I was getting from this other physical therapist, it's very valuable. It's very valuable because you turn to, so what you guys are all saying is great. Angie.
So I just want to piggyback off of Savannah. Hold on. Oh, so I just want to piggyback off of Savannah. I completely agree. I think that a lot of the times, and this is part of my question answer, I think a lot of the times physical therapists don't know what to do with the dancer, right? In my case, they literally were like, just stop dancing. What's the big deal, right? But like as a teenager, as a high school dancer, that's literally catastrophic. Like that was devastating to me.
It was your life up to that point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's everything you ever did outside of school.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it was like, I was like, well, I'm not going back there. And I didn't. And I think one thing that I'm learning in PT school is that it's not necessarily like, if you don't like, okay, I know nothing about tennis, I know nothing about football, but I'm still able to like look at, okay, so I was just in clinic and one of my patients is a tennis player. So she's having trouble, and like when she's like, well, when I go back here, and I'm like, okay, well, I can understand where you're having the pain and why you're having the pain. And I think that for PTs, it's kind of taking that same, like, they may not understand dance and what we do and like how we move, but it's getting them to understand, well, when your leg is in arabesque, this is why you need that external rotation. This is what you need to, you know what I mean? It's not that, okay, they need to know what an arabesque is, but
Right.
to know when your leg is here, this is what you're doing. This is why we have to get you here, and see the importance behind it. You know what I mean? I think that like we can, obviously they can learn that, and part of like what I would like to do is to help them learn that, to educate everybody that like, you know, it's such a different sport. you know? So, and again, everything you guys said, I completely agree with all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. I love it. I
have
mean,
a
we're always,
list.
what is that?
I made a list of everything if we want a summary.
Oh, you did? Oh, go for it.
Taking notes, it's a thing I do because I have short-term memory loss. We call me Dory for a reason.
So cute.
Don't make this stuff up, guys. So, we were talking about providing endless evidence-based practice, building connections and networking within our community. I was also thinking, I brainstormed, I added a couple things that we didn't talk about. Just being a cheerleader, because we were talking about that earlier, just like supporting each other in our endeavors and what we're doing in our lives, regardless of where we are, and just cheering on each other. And also I was thinking, since we're all students, just like having a support system for students, whether, you know, you're the only person in your class, or you feel like you're fighting against other kids in your class to be the one dance PT, like creating that support system for dance physical therapy students specifically, and decreasing the stigma, not only having quantity as far as like the amount of us that are present, but also the quality of care that we're providing, and then increasing understanding not only between PTs but also to other physical therapists that don't do dance, teaching them about what we do and why we do what we do. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So you'll forever be the summarizer. I'll be like, Kylie, take it away.
Secretary. I will take
So-
that role.
I have order, and Kylie always has to give a summary. Okay.
Yes, summary. Yes, yes, yes. And Angie leaves out the R's, and Lizette dances on ice.
True.
This guy.
There we go. There we go. I love it. And Disney. Me, I'm Disney. That's it. Disney. The end. I love this. This is so wonderful. Okay, so let me now flip. I want to show you guys. Yeah, this is time. I'm excited. Okay, so I want to go into what you're going to be doing this week now, so that way we're all on the same page. So boom, bada bing. All right, so share the whole desktop. Shared. Boom. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's amazing. So I'm going to go into module 1.
It's
So-
so pretty.
The module of the one. Yeah, I got very anal retentive with how it needed to look. I'm like, it needs to be artistic. Okay, so you're going to have these videos. This is actually a really short module. This will be your favorite regarding time commitment. That being said, this is where the money's at right here. So this is an Enneagram test. We're going to be revolving our conversation next time. This is where it does a deep dive in who you are. You may have done some of this stuff in your life, these type of tests, or in school, PT school. This is so we can better know ourselves and we can dig deeper, so that way we can be, they're seeing all my texts now. This is great. Get a lot. I actually had a patient text me where I was like, "Ooh, don't get off the screen before I come out." But yeah, so we're doing this, and then share your results in the Facebook group. I have no idea how you're going to share the results. I'll get back to you on that. I mean, literally just sharing like your list. For right now, just share your list of what the things were that you ended up being. Just do that. Fun, boom, bada bing. I'll come up with some better reflection thing. I was thinking more of the conversation, but anyway, so that's that. I want to share some more things where I keep adding, because I'm addicted to giving you information. So if we go to course documents, which there's always a pause when we're in this thing. Isn't she just a beautiful model? This was like one in this free photos online. So module 4, I have been going nuts on. Module 4 is the one we go into common exercises and everything. So I wrote up a dance initial eval that you can take and use with you at any clinic for the rest of your life. That took some time, but that's combining the screening of which I gave you too. I have the DFOS and EAT 26. We'll talk more about that in the course, but those are measures. And then the dance PT screen and my injury prevention lecture that I made when I was a student. That was my, what's that thing called?
In service?
Yeah, that. So that my in-service, I changed it to PT, DPT, but because it literally, when I opened it up, it still said SPT. I was like, oh, so that was from 2017. So there still could be some new research to add to it. With everything I give to you, it's yours, including the in-service. So if you have to do an in-service, but you want to update it and you like my format or whatever, what is mine is yours. Use it. I don't care. So anything to elevate you in the profession. And you could be like, oh, I like this, but I actually want to dig deeper into this. Because honestly, the information I'm giving is quite basic. I was really into more prevalence and stuff, incidence and prevalence. So that's what it kind of where I dove in. You'll see when you look at it. Okay. And that goes for all this good stuff. Then going back to the main menu, and I breathe like that because literally I've just been adding stuff because I'm just excited. And if we go to module 4 again, a lot's happening in module 4. So this is the common injuries one. What I added in it, and I want to explain briefly, which I'll probably have to explain again because I can see there being questions, is a common thing that is always like, well, what exercises do I do? What exercises do I do? So what I did for every single injury, and this is going beyond acute. So this is saying we have gotten them past just laying and like raising their legs because they're in massive pain. So I'm making a lot of assumptions with these things. I need to, this is my own personal homework. I have time till we get to module 4, so I'm not worried. I'm going to be providing you guys videos of all these exercises, but I gave at least 3 for every single one, where it's pretty much hitting the things that I'm listing, everything that I'm listing here. And then I also gave biomechanics check. So you could go beyond this, but I was just like ways that you could just start applying it to dance right away for the dancer. I think these are just common things, and I get where you're like, well, give me something though. It's too general. So I was like, here you go. In case I haven't, no, I'm going to skip the last. Yeah, okay, sorry, excitement. Next, I want to show you, yes, ballet PT research. This is a massive labor of love. So what I know, I see Savannah just like, holy crap. Yeah, I'm doing it. So I don't
think you understand. This has been a goal that I've been toying with for a long time. But
amazing, great. So you can be the picky eye on this for the future. But what I'm doing is I'm going through right now all of Adams research. I'm just going to 2015. I did add some from 1997. I was like, what am I thinking? These are just outdated. So I'm going 2015 and on. I started at 2020. I think I'm on 2018, just from the International Association of Dance Medicine and Science. And so for this, and I'm just trying to categorize them as best I can. It's going to stay in a Google Doc, so you can always do Control F and then type in whatever you're looking for, because I don't expect you to scroll down and be like, oh. So I'm trying to do some keywords in that way, and then not it's in the title or whatever. So that way you have access to this forever, and I'll be always adding to it the latest research, at the very least from the International Association of Dance Medicine and Science. If you want access to the full articles, of course, it will end up being a paid thing, but this is so you're not just, it's just to help long term. I was like, and this is all evidence for common injuries. Yes, Kylie said, yeah, go for it.
If we find other stuff that's not in here, can we send it to you and have you add it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please. Amazing. Yes, because I'm just getting started. Literally, I started doing this today because I had to get other, like I was saying, oh, I added this and I did this. I keep doing things. But this is gold for long term. This is gold. So you can always go in here and go, okay, I have this research. And so then, not saying this is always going to have everything, but the goal is pretty much too. And then you can go, okay, let me see if there's anything missing. You can do the research, but already have a head start. This is very ballet focused. It's not going into other dance styles. It did get a little bit selfish in the end because there's not much musical theater, and so I threw that in the end because I mean there's so little as a whole, so I just threw that on there because that's my world. And yeah, so I need to create a link to this within it'll go in course documents, or I might just put it on, I got to figure out where we'll put that on every single page, probably just in course documents, and I'll just have a research link done. It's not really a module, it's just as a whole. But this, I think, is a big game changer for us being on top of research. Yeah. So yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yes, Kylie.
The other thing that I don't know if we're allowed to do, but I've definitely been doing it for my research project, is because I'm doing my research with dancers for my program. So I download all the PDFs if I can ever find them.
We can't. Legally, we can't.
Like, I
We
don't know.
can't share it with each other. Yeah. Well, I learned that yeah, we can't legally. Otherwise, I would
Darn.
love to.
I was like, that would be so great.
I mean, like, I mean, if you want to share between each other, that's not part of my course. I'm
Right.
off the hook for that. But as for my formal course, I cannot. And oh yeah, I forgot. There's another thing I want to add to. Anyway, I'm not even going to mention it because if I forget later. But anyway, as I'm saying, I'm just literally keep thinking of things going, oh yeah, this. And I'm just giving it to you guys. So you guys can see how this is setting you guys up. I mean, there's no doubt. So I want you guys to be confident as heck. And I think creating this community, even with this first video, is really, really key. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And those who aren't present, you know I'm grateful for you guys being in this program. And if you don't know, now you know. For the people who are catching the replay, of course, write replay below. But more importantly, I would love for you to do your own video answering those 3 questions. The community you have experienced, the community that's lacking, that you find is lacking, and then the kind of support you want to give to others. Very simple, very easy. So all right, and that is it. So I'm going to sign up for this, but you guys stay on. I just want to stop the recording here. Bye, guys.